Good Thursday morning. Let's go back to the Gospel of Matthew, okay? This is Peter at his best, okay? Jesus went into the region of Caesarea Philippi, and he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others Elijah, others, Jeremiah, one of the prophets." He said to them, "Who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter said in reply, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus said to him in reply, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. And I say to you, you are Peter. And upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." He strictly ordered his disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer greatly from the elders, chief priests, the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. This is Peter's best. Then Peter took Jesus aside and began to rebuke him. "God forbid, Lord, no such thing's going to happen to you." He turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You're an obstacle to me. You're thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." That's such a great text. You see the complete humanity of St. Peter and the great humanity of the church, and just right there and then. Peter confesses the faith brilliantly. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God, okay? And Jesus confirms it. "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I'll build my church. The gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I'll give you the keys of the kingdom." Boom, bada, bing, bada. You're it. You're the rock upon which you are the authority of the church, okay? A few sentences later, okay, when Christ gives the prediction of the passion, Peter, what is he doing? Like, what are you kidding me? Forgot about it. See, turn around. No such thing's ever going to happen to you. Come on, he said, "To get behind me, Satan. You're an obstacle to me. You're getting in the way. You're thinking not as God does it, but as human beings do." He knocks him on his ass. He knocks Peter on his butt. You see? Such the flesh of the church. Yet Peter gets crucified upside down. You remember the great story? Peter betrays Christ. "I don't know the guy. What are you kidding me?" Remember that? Then he sees Christ and says, "Oh man, what did I do?" And he finally dies upside down. I don't remember, he wasn't worthy to even be crucified. I love St. Peter. He is the church. Not only the rock upon which the church is built, he is the church. He proclaims the gospel flawlessly. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And he is protected against error by the Spirit within, not flesh and blood, but my heavenly Father. You see? And yet, he's fully human. And he's going to make judgments that are based on his human perception of what should be. Get behind me, Satan. Come on, get behind me. You think the thoughts of men and not the thoughts of God. That's the beautiful tension in the life of the church. Peter embodies it. You see both the wisdom of the gospel and the flesh of the church. The wisdom, but the wisdom contained within the flesh of the church. And therefore, at times the church fails. Not in the proclamation of the gospel, but how she applies it. No, it's not going to happen to you. You see, forgot about it. See, I believe you're the Christ, but no, it's not going to happen to you. Well, yes, it is. You see? See, it's neat. I love these texts because I think I see in the early church trying to sort it all out. She recognized the leadership of the church at the same time. Peter, at the same time, she sees the flaws within herself. As the early church was struggling to recognize both the authority of Peter and the flesh of the church, her stumbling around. It's never stopped stumbling around while she proclaims infallibly who and what is Christ, you see. But she also flounders at times. Yeah, at times, because she's flesh. And she proclaims the gospel in the context of the world. in the context of the world, meaning she's human, just like the rest of the world is human. But at the same time, protected by God, that she will never preach a false gospel. And she doesn't, because she preaches Christ, dead and risen. And the life of the church, the sacraments, okay, are the expressions of Christ in the mode of Redeemer, from baptism to last rites, and everything in between. It's the food of the journey, the healing of the sick on the journey, by the church, through the church, the presence of God within the church, you see? But she's also fleshy, very, very fleshy. I love the fact that she's as fleshy. I have to say, maybe I find consolation in it. I don't know. See, can I just share this thought with you? Whatever it's worth to you. I gave up on innocence a long time ago. I'm not innocent, and I don't know anyone who is. And I don't like the pretension to innocence. I believe in redemption. And I believe holiness is to struggle with one's sinfulness and one's humanity as we journey across the desert. See? And what I find solace in and hope and trust is I see the working of grace in people's lives as they go through their lives day by day, struggling to live up to their vocations and then to get up off the ground when they fail. And I hope I do the same. Never giving up on the presence of Christ in our life, who is both guiding and forgiving at the same time. What I don't have any confidence in, let alone faith in, is piety. Simple external piety or some pretense to innocence. And to my mind, the enemy of holiness is the pretense to innocence. Sin almost is a necessary condition for true holiness, in the sense it shocks us into the reality that without Christ we damn ourselves, we condemn ourselves. That we are always people in need of redemption, always in need of making whole. We are never innocently perfect. Never. We are flawed human beings, always in search of redemption. See? I think that's really true. I guess what life has taught me is, I think, my monastic years were some of the most formative for me, because I saw what holiness looked like, and it wasn't pious. I saw people struggling, men of faith, struggling with their faith, struggling with their weaknesses, especially alcohol, but other things. And I saw the depth of their faith, their perseverance. I remember there was a guy who died, he was just 60 years ago. Oh, poor man, he was alcoholic. Just sad. He just really kind of wasted his life in so many ways. But I remember when he died, I remember one of the teachers we had he just said this much: he persevered to the end. He persevered, and he said to us, "I hope you do the same." And I began to see that what this man did was persevered in his vocation as a very, very stumbling man, but he never stopped walking. He never stopped moving forward. And I see that in the course of my life and others. Not to quit, never to go backwards, never to throw in the towel, always walking forward, picking oneself up through the grace of God and moving forward, even if you're stumbling in the dining room. Get it? That's the truth. Yeah, I do. That is the truth. I believe in holiness because I believe in redemption. I have no belief in innocence whatsoever.